Whew, yes. Hello, my friends, my sisters, and my brothers of Minnesota, the United States, and the world. I'm here again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. Basic human rights means your right to life, a wonderful life in these bodies on this earth during this time as though you were in heaven. That is my mission and that is my purpose. Last night, ladies and gentlemen, I believe it was Tuesday night. Oh, no, it was Wednesday night. Donald Trump was bragging about the release of the three gentlemen from North Korea. He stated that it was an accomplishment, everybody was happy. But he kept running his mouth off script, and he let out a secret. I'm preparing to give you this message, ladies and gentlemen, because last night I prepared it for you. In fact, it was early this morning. And I tried to run it on YouTube and Facebook for you, but it wouldn't run. It said that my server rejected the video. Blew my mind because it was right on time. And so I wondered why did they reject it. And let me tell you, they rejected it in such a way till it would not only upload, it wouldn't even play in my camera. Had me thinking I was going to have to go and buy another camera. I don't have the money to do that, but I was going to find the money. And so I went to another public space to see if I could upload it, and I found that I couldn't upload it there. They had a little trick set for me. They said, a little message came up, said, your video is having some problems, click here and it will be fixed. So I want you to see the video. I clicked there. All of a sudden, it comes right back and say it's fixed. If you have a problem, go to the found section or something. I clicked it, I went back and found out that the video had been deleted from my memory card. Deleted, totally deleted. I went looking for the found. I found nothing. It blew my mind how they did this. And it really got my attention, ladies and gentlemen, because after having tried to upload that video from my home and failed, I found this morning that someone was watching me outside of my home. Some guy sitting in a truck monitoring the going ins and out of this house. And when I left to take my daughter to school, then this vehicle finally left. So I'm excited that I'm finally doing something, finally touching somebody's core. And I just want you to know that the information that I was trying to give you before, I want to see if I can get it back to you. I want you to know this, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to listen to me well. Donald Trump, your president, is pure evil. That man is pure evil. Now I know most of you don't want, half of you don't want to hear it. But you said it yourselves. When he was running for office, one part of the nation said he was evil. Another part said he was okay, but said the other candidate was evil. So both candidates were referred to as evil. And you, the American people, allowed this process to continue with put before you two evil representatives. No one said, we got to stop this, we don't want these representatives. You accepted them, you went to the polls and you voted for them. It didn't matter who came out, you got evil. Well, who came out? Who came out victorious? The one that was most evil. Ms. Clinton got most of the popular vote, but the Electoral College chose Trump. Now, you all know what the Electoral College was designed for. It was designed in the beginning to protect the rich people. So if the poor people got pissed, and there would always be more of them, and tried to exercise the fake system that they thought they had, and came up with more numbers, then the Electoral College could just make its choice, and it didn't matter how many votes you got. It's what the powers that be wanted. And that's what the Electoral College was going to do. And that's what they did. They got Donald Trump. Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why did they choose Donald Trump? They have an agenda. Over the past 50 years, you have been programmed, you have been conditioned to reject all that is good in the name of yourself, selfishness. All you care about is yourself. Now, you don't know this, you don't believe this, but in reality, based upon the way you act, all you care about is yourself. In other words, you have been divided. The races have been divided, the genders have been divided. We have what we call racism in this country, set up by design to keep the black people and the white people from coming together, even though they have the same concerns, even though they have the same problems and require the same solutions. They have been split. And that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. We have so much that's going on. We have, and I want you to listen to me good, what Donald Trump said last night. He said we set up North Korea in such a way that I think something is going to come out of really wonderful, something that we're going to be proud of. And he said, somebody asked him if he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize, referring to what Barack Obama had gotten. And he says, everybody thinks so, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about fixing the world. Now, I don't think he used the word fixing, but that's what he's referenced. Fixing the world. And that was key. That was key. Fixing the world. So Donald Trump is not just talking about running over Americans. He's talking about running over the world. This is why he said Mexico would fix their wall. He is planning on being so vicious and so evil that the world will bow down to him. See, he's not alone. He has a power base behind him. It's not just those people who voted for Donald Trump. It's the Republican Party. But not just the Republican Party. It's the elite. It's those who call the Illuminati. It's called the Council on Foreign Relations. You know most of them. I won't call them out for you, but they are the elite. And that includes all of the secret societies that you might know of. The secret societies are secret because they have a hidden agenda that is supposed to work for them and no one else. That's why it's secret. And it works against you because in order for them to get what they want and to go where they want to go, they got to abuse you. They are the secret societies. And it includes all wealthy people. Now their game is to say, split us up by the haves and the have-nots. Those who serve the purpose of the Illuminatis or those who want to conquer the world, they reward them quite well. Now let's say, how do they reward them? Well, they need them to keep the rest of the population blind. They call them stars. They call them idols. And they are paid well because in America and the rest of the world, what you can get, where you can go, how often you can go, and when you can go is determined by how much money you got. That determines your freedom. And so these guys are paid super well. Who are they? They are your stars. They are your dancers. They are your singers making records. They are your athletes. They are the people who receive the $1 million and multi-million-dollar contracts to keep you dumbed down. But that's not all of them. They're on television. They are called comedians. They have television programs. And their job is to what? To tell jokes, to talk about the people that you don't like, specifically Donald Trump. And those of you who are listening to these programs, you can't wait to hear the jokes told by these entertainers so you can laugh at Donald Trump. Nothing is being done about Donald Trump, but you're hearing some jokes and you're laughing. But that's on the one side. On the other side, you got people like Fox talking about the other people that keeps those people that support them laughing. You got a radio host talking about people, keeping them divided. So you are out here as angry as you can be, especially when you hear someone talking about you. It doesn't matter what side of the track you're on. If they're talking about you, it makes you mad as hell. Now, let's go back to Donald Trump. Donald Trump said when he was running for president, they asked him what he thought about waterboarding. They wanted to know if he thought that it was cool to engage in this type of activity. Now, what did Donald Trump say about that? He said it wasn't torture. If he had his way, he would go far beyond torture. Far beyond torture, ladies and gentlemen. And so what does he do? He decides to get him a CIA director, happened to be a female, who has engaged in torture, who has engaged in waterboarding, who has engaged in it. Now, you've heard Donald Trump talk about Sessions. If I had known you were going to recuse yourself, if I had known that I couldn't depend on you to protect whatever I do, I would have gotten somebody else. What does that mean? I would have gotten somebody else who would have protected me and my lying and all the evil things I do. I would have gotten somebody who would have protected me on the legal side, on the justice side. That's what he said. Now, he got this lady who is already engaged in stuff that he said he was nothing compared to what he'd do. And now she goes before the Congress and promises that she would not do these things. Biggest lie, and people are believing it. At least the Republican Party, they're saying she's the most qualified woman to take this job. See, the whole thing is all a scam, ladies and gentlemen. You are being scammed. This is like a Ponzi scheme, but let's just call it a great big con. A great big con. Now, Trump says we want to neutralize that part of the world, the Middle East. We want to neutralize people like North Korea, like Iran. Neutralize them. Now, what does that mean? That means that he wants to take away their dream and ambition for nuclear weapons. Oh, he said he wanted to denuclearize, excuse me. He wanted to take away their weapons, their plight to get weapons. And you are so happy because that means that you won't have to worry about or be threatened by others who might be pissed off at what is being done to them. Now, but I want you to look at it like this. Look at the Native Americans who had bow and arrows, and look at some other power with tanks. What chance would those bow and arrows stand against those tanks? If you want them other certain people to have tanks, in spite of the fact that others only got bow and arrows, you ought to be ashamed of yourselves. Even the founding fathers came up with the Second Amendment to say you have the right to bear arms. Why? Because if you don't have arms, even your own people will come over and abuse you, do anything they want to do to you because you won't have the ability to defend yourselves. And so they passed a law that says you have the right to bear arms. And you got those arms. People are killing children, they're killing everybody, but you still holding on to those arms. And you want other nations to give up their arms and be at the mercy of the people like Iraq. Be at the mercy of the people in Libya and everywhere else where they don't have these nuclear weapons. They don't do it to Russia. And look here, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you another thing. Pete, you have heard it said that some people want to be saved or felt as they were called by God. They're God's chosen people. God's chosen people. I want you to know that God's people are not killers. They don't bomb other people to save their land. Before they would bomb somebody to possess some land, they would give them the land. Before they would kill somebody for land, they would give them the land. But there's a big old problem that started a long time ago. That problem was kings and queens, and pharaohs and Caesars and popes who all say they descended from the gods and that they were very, very special and important and everybody else weren't. You were only important as they need you to do the things that they wanted done. And as I said earlier, Many of them are paid super well. Many of them paid not so well. And then some of them get what? Minimum wage. And then some of them get nothing. Because that's the way of the, you want to, some say the way of the world. I want to say it's the way of evil. I want to say it's the way of the devil. It is the devil's spirit that is manipulating people to do the things that leads to crime and violence and terrorism and war. It is the devil's spirit that leads to these kinds of things happening. And I said a moment ago, because many folks say that the Jews, and they're talking about people over in Israel, are God's chosen people. You turn the television on and you can see missiles being lathered over and those other people. I mean, trying their best to kill them. I want you to know that is the spirit of the anti-God. That is the spirit of the devil. Now, these people who call themselves God's chosen people are evil. They are the devils. Now, the message that I'm telling you now, you probably won't hear as if you did as the same yesterday, that failure. And why is that? Because these same people, they own the media. They own ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. They own these stations, and only message that comes across that wave line is that which they don't mind you hearing, that which they have designed to mess up your mind. And so you might not hear this message, but I think I'm trying to do something different this time. So if they block it, I got another way to get it to you. Now, I've told you all the things you already know about what's going on in the world. Many of you know it, most of you don't. But here's what my whole message, my true message is about. I want you to know this. It is not Trump. It is not the Republican or the Democratic Party. It is not America or Russia or China or anything that have true power. The true power is God. And the instruments of that true power, you the people. I said earlier that the devil spirit, the evil spirit, is causing people to do all of the things that I've just mentioned to you. And you have been led to believe that God must come down and work a miracle. You are sitting back waiting for God to come and spank these people. God is not going to spank anybody. God has set up a set of laws that says you shall reap what you sow. And when you hate one another, you do things that represents that hate. And hate is going to come back to you. It's said that the seed that you plant determines the fruit that you're going to get. So all of the things that's happening to you in America, you deserve it. But God still loves you. And the purpose that I'm here to tell you about right now is how to escape this hell. Recognize that there is a world, an earth, that was made not by anybody that you know of. It wasn't made by white people, black people, men, women, Americans, or any other. And in this earth is every resource, whether it's above the earth, on the earth, in the earth, seen or unseen. And it's sufficient to meet every requirement that you, the human beings, will ever need to meet all of your needs and wants and desires. Everything you can possibly want. Everything you can possibly want. That's unseen spirit. Put it here. That's the evidence that the spirit exists, because we didn't do it. And here we are, human beings, with the ability to do certain things. And what are the basic things we do? We first reach out to survive, and we think about meeting those needs, which are food and clothing and shelter. We can do, oh man, look at the food, look at the shelters, look at the things of this sort that is in abundance on this earth. Nobody got any business going without any of them. And yet, if we want to progress, we need education, and we need it unlimited and unrestricted. Now, the master, that unseen spirit, made it possible, made that a requirement in order to be progressive, that every human being might be able to access that and move on up from wherever you are to where you want to go. And understanding that we have allowed sickness to come upon us, God gave us doctors, people who wanted to serve our interests when it comes down to health. Gave us the facilities to be serviced at. This great mighty God made sure that that was possible, not just for you, but for every human being on the face of the earth. And to make sure that since every last one of us require these things at one time or another, that magnificent power gave each of us a gift, a special gift, whereby when it is exercised, it is the greatest reward we could ever have. We would love doing it. When we know what it is, if we need education, we're on top of it because we love what we do and we want the education. We even protect ourselves to avoid the sickness because we don't want any interruption. And we call the ability to exercise that careers of our own choosing. Careers, ladies and gentlemen. Careers whereby all of the things that we want, that we need, that we desire is created in abundance, in such an abundance that no one is without it. No one. And since we are all working for a common cause, a common good to make sure that there's enough here, and all we have to do is give our gifts, that makes us, listen to me good, co-owners of everything that exists. All the resources truly belong to God. The oil, the gold, the silver, the woods, the trees, the water, the air, everything belongs to God. But when we're using it for the benefit of all of us, we become partners in it. And what you own, you don't have to buy. It's like going in your kitchen, open up your refrigerator, wondering what you're going to cook today, and it's loaded. That's the way the world is. It's loaded. And the way you exercise your gifts is loaded. Now, what does that mean? That means you don't need money. You don't need taxes. You don't need debt. You don't need fees. You don't need loans. There is no poverty, so there will be no crime. There will be no violence. There will be no need to lie, to cheat, to steal, to kill, or go into war. That is God's plan, and that is what I bring to this campaign this year, seeking the United States Senator seat from the state of Minnesota. To carry this message forward, I'm not going to Washington if the people say go, to do the gaming, to play the games. I'm going to tell the world that it is time for change. We have gone in this rabbit hole, we've played in this hell long enough. It is time now we give God a chance. We got the devil on the throne in America. We got the devil on the throne in Russia. We got the devil on the throne in Israel. We got the devil on the throne in every part of the world, in Africa, in North Korea, in Iran, everywhere. We got the devil on the throne. And that means they don't care about you. They only care about themselves. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm able to make that successful move by your power, then when I go to Washington in 2020, I want you to make me president. Why? So that you can get a chance to exercise your power. Now, somebody might say, well, Eddie, what do you really mean? When I talk about the things I've just mentioned about what God wants for you, that means you're going to school, education is free. Now, there are those of you who got debt from what your engagement in the past. All of your debt are wiped away. There are those of you who have debt for your health care. All of that is wiped away. There are those of you who have debt on mortgages and rents and stuff and your car notes. All of that is wiped away. Wiped away, ladies and gentlemen. And it is not to take anything from the rich. It's to take all of God's resources to bring everybody up to a level that everybody can feel as though they are in heaven and paradise. This is God's plan for you. Now, I know many of you don't want to hear this because the devil has also gone in the church. I am not speaking for the church, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speaking for God. You know the church. The devil told the preachers in the church, if they can deceive you, they can get as much money as they can get from you. And they can build houses and mansions just like the other people of the world. They can have jets to fly all over the world claiming they're going to spread God's message. And they are helping nobody but themselves. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you can forget that mess. And I call it mess because that's exactly what it is, mess. If all they have to give you is a Bible story, get a book and read it yourselves. Get a book and read it yourselves. But what you should do and what you should think about doing is purifying your heart. And how do you do that? You do that by caring about other people. You are undoubtedly your brother's keeper. They have said, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and they that dwell therein. You have heard it said that you shall love the Lord thy God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your body, with all your mind. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. They have said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. And everything you want, everything you need, everything you desire will be right there at your hand. The devil called a few of you and put you out there and say, if you rule, bow down to me, then all this I'll give you. Now, let me give you an example of what that means. You remember when Donald Trump had a meeting? He brought the cameras there, and he had all of his staff to come to this meeting and sit around the table. And everybody at that table had to honor him, tell the world how wonderful he is. This is in order to keep their job. Tell them how much they would serve him, how much they believed in what he was doing. And he sat there in the middle of the table with his arms crossed just like this, eating it up, telling the world, you see, this is me. This is how important I am. That's what the devil does, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you this. I'm a messenger of God. I know more than you. I don't care what position you have. I know more than you, and you are no better than I am. And when you see the truth, you will never have to ever bow down to any human being except and unless you do it as a gift of your love for them. Not out of fear, not out of requirement of something for them for your survival. The method has been set in place, and it is the method of God. So what am I saying to you, ladies and gentlemen? I'm saying I want to change the system. Why do I want to change the system? Because it is necessary for God's plan to be implemented. Now, what we need to do is get our own selves righteous. We need to be what somebody say, born again. We need to have a renewing of our minds. We need to get all that junk that keeps us divided. We got to burn it. Burn it like we're burning trash. Burn it like we're burning hell. Burn it like the same stuff that's being purged from that earth in Hawaii. It's just blowing up. So get all that stuff out of you. Blow it up. And inject a new spirit, a spirit of life, a spirit of happiness, a spirit of joy and peace. And let that be your motivation. We, my friends, by the power of love, you've heard Oprah Winfrey say you can get to God many ways. That's a lie. You might be coming from a lot of different places, but the only way you can get to God is love. And the only way that love can be recognized as to God is by how you treat everybody else. That is the absolute gospel. There's not a single soul on the earth that can deny it. Now, the rich people want to keep their power and control over you, but the very moment you wake up, it's over. They don't have power and control over me because I'm wide awake. Now, I'm not of the dog-eat-dog caliber. I need, want, desire things right now. In this system, I cannot possess. There are so many things in this system that you cannot possess. That is why the system must change. It changes not to take anything and cause any pain and suffering to anybody else. It's to make sure that those things that they want, that they desire, they can have. But the wealthy, those who want to rule the world, will lose that because you will not allow them to rule you any longer. Now, having said this, I've said a lot of stuff. I didn't say it like I said it last night. Last night I was upset. I was kind of angry, and I came out boiling. Tonight I'm a little more calm, and I'm just giving you some facts. And in truth, I probably have left out a lot of things. And maybe it's because it didn't have any value. I guarantee you, though, everything that I have said has value. Now, let me see if I can get you to see this little card. This is a poor man. Donald Trump come to you saying he wants to serve you, and he comes on a big plane, and he sets it right out there in the field where you are listening to him speak. You look at that big plane, and you think he's God. You think he's somebody. But God's man, God's spokesman, doesn't have anything. Look here. Here's a little flyer that I put together. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. This is how I campaign. This is how the campaign is done. Now, while they require money to be spent in order for you to hear anything, that is designed so people like me, because they wouldn't give me a single dime. And so, as far as they're concerned, I am voiceless. But God has said, everything I'm telling you is the truth. And it is your responsibility to let the world know it, to let everybody you know it, by every means that you have accessible to you, to let them know that God is ready to make the world beautiful. And God needs you, and God needs everybody else. in order to do these things. You are the instrument whereby God's power, where God's love will just spread. You know that lava that's coming out of them in Hawaii is just spreading, wiping out everything in its path. The love of God being expressed through you would wipe out all of that ugliness that has been here in our lifetime and create a new birth of all of the happiness, all of the prosperity, and all of the joy and peace that you and I have ever prayed for, ever hoped for, and ever wanted. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think I've said enough now. I could go on, but I know your attention span is probably being checked right now. So I'm going to say, remember, I'm a write-in candidate. I'm not going to be on any ballot unless some citizen somewhere go and get signatures and put me on the ballot. I'm not worried about it. I'm not asking you for one penny to pay to get my name on the ballot. I want you to know exactly what I'm talking about, understand what I'm talking about, and go to the polls and write in my name, E-D-D-I-E, Eddie, M-A-R-C-U-S, Marcus. Write it in. Write it in, saying to the world, you are a new creature, and you're ready to receive the benefits of a new creature. Thank you so very much. Bye-bye.